I've been thinking a lot about comedy lately. What makes us laugh? Why do we find certain things funny? And more importantly, what's my comedy style? So, let's dive in, shall we? First off, I think it's important to acknowledge that comedy is deeply personal. Everyone has their own taste, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Some people love slapstick, others prefer dry humor, and then there are those who appreciate the absurd. For me, I'd say my comedy style leans heavily towards observational humor. Taking everyday situations and highlighting the ridiculousness of them. It's like, how many times have you found yourself in a situation where you just had to laugh at the absurdity of it all? Take, for instance, the classic scenario of going to the grocery store. You walk in with a list, determined to stick to it, but somehow you end up in the snack aisle, contemplating whether you really need those extra bags of chips. And then there's that moment when you see someone in the produce section inspecting an avocado like it's a rare artifact. I mean, how many times have you seen someone squeeze an avocado only to put it back because it's not just right? We've all been there. And that's the beauty of observational humor. It's relatable. It taps into shared experiences that we can all connect with. But here's the thing. Observational humor can sometimes feel a bit safe, right? It's easy to point out the quirks of everyday life. But what about tackling the bigger issues? That's where I think my style evolves a bit. I try to weave in social commentary without being preachy. It's like, yes, we can laugh at the mundane, but we can also laugh at the absurdity of the world around us. For example, have you ever thought about how we've all become so obsessed with our phones? I mean, we're living in a time where people would rather scroll through social media than have an actual conversation. It's like, hey, let's just ignore each other while we sit in the same room. It's funny, but it's also a little sad, right? And then there's the self-deprecating humor. Oh, the joys of making fun of yourself. I think it's one of the most relatable styles out there. Everyone has their flaws, and when you can laugh at your own missteps, it creates a sense of camaraderie with your audience. I mean, who hasn't tripped over their own feet while trying to look cool? Or sent a text to the wrong person and immediately regretted it? That's the kind of stuff that makes people nod their heads and chuckle, because they've been there too. But let's not forget about the absurdist humor, which I also enjoy dabbling in. There's something liberating about taking a situation and twisting it into something completely ridiculous. Like, imagine if we treated everyday tasks like they were high-stakes missions. Like going to the bathroom could be portrayed as an epic quest, complete with a soundtrack and dramatic pauses. You're tiptoeing down the hallway, heart racing, trying to avoid the creaky floorboards, and then bam, you're in the bathroom, and it's a total victory. That kind of humor allows us to escape reality for a moment, and I think we all need that from time to time. Now, let's talk about timing. Timing is everything in comedy. You can have the best punchline in the world, but if you don't deliver it at the right moment, it falls flat. That's something I've learned through trial and error. I remember one time I was telling a joke about my terrible cooking skills, and I completely misjudged the timing. I delivered the punchline too soon, and instead of laughter, I got crickets. It was mortifying. But hey, that's part of the journey, right? You learn, you adapt, and you keep going. Another aspect of my comedy style is the use of relatable characters. I love creating exaggerated versions of people we all know. You've got the overzealous yoga instructor who's way too into her chakras, or the friend who always has the most outrageous conspiracy theories. These characters allow me to explore different facets of life while keeping it lighthearted and fun. It's like holding up a mirror to society and saying, look at this, isn't it ridiculous? And let's not forget about the power of storytelling. I believe that every joke has a story behind it, and the best comedians are those who can weave their experiences into a narrative that resonates with their audience. I often find myself sharing personal anecdotes that lead to a punchline. It's like taking a journey with the audience, guiding them through my thoughts and experiences until we reach that moment of laughter together. So, what's my comedy style, you ask? It's a blend of observational humor, social commentary, self-deprecation, absurdity, and storytelling. It's about finding the humor in the everyday, tackling the big issues with a light touch, and creating characters that we can all recognize. It's about connecting with people on a deeper level while making them laugh until their sides hurt. At the end of the day, comedy is about bringing joy and laughter into the world. It's about finding those moments of lightness in the chaos of life. And if I can make just one person smile, then I've done my job. So whether you're an avocado inspector or a snack aisle wanderer, remember that we're all in this together, navigating the absurdity of life, one laugh at a time. Thank you for joining me on this little journey through my comedy style. Let's keep laughing.